Pronto?
Pronto. Ciao.
From Ortigia.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Jen.
And this is Chit Chat with Jenn and Matt.
That is the dorkiest name ever, but I love it too. Welcome to the vlog. Today's vlog is going to be all about why we're not going to keep living in Ortigia.
Like Jen said, this video is about why we're looking outside of Ortigia for our home that we're going to renovate.
Yeah, or better said, sorry Matt, is why isn't Ortigia on the list of where we're going to live? Well, we'll talk a little bit more about how we chose where we're going to live, but this one's all about why it isn't Ortigia. And I would say the first big reason is that it is very touristy here, for good reason, but it's very touristy here and it gets very, very crowded.
Yeah, I mean, different parts of the year, but especially spring, summer, fall, it's very busy. I mean, we live also in the most sort of crowded area
Central artery
of Ortigia, but beyond sort of the regular Italian tourists and the tourists being bussed down from Catania, as well as we have for a lot of the year, there's a cruise ship rolling into town, dropping off 2,000, 3,000 German tourists mostly.
Yeah, they do seem to be a lot of German cruise ships that come into this port in Sicily.
And, you know, and it adds a lot of volume to the number of people and just trying to, you know, fight your way through the streets.
Through the winter, I got in the habit of getting out and taking a beautiful walk around Ortigia. The island is not that big, so in about an hour, I got to, you know, make a pretty good trek. And then the cruise ships started coming, and I can't walk at a pace that is really called exercise anymore. Still lovely, but you know, you're trying to navigate around clumps of 40 or so, you know, people wearing headphones and stuff. So it gets crowded.
Yeah, and with the sort of touristy sort of atmosphere, you know, you wind up sort of being forced to be treated like a tourist all the time, whether it's you know, people, you know, selling you things in stands, or whether it's you know, tell your story about the Ape tour operators, or the velobike operators.
So it's kind of our second reason is that we are really seen as tourists here and not as part of the community, which means you get treated very nicely. I mean, everybody gets treated very nicely, but it's different. I notice when I go to other comunes, cities, towns, and I'm interacting with locals and businesses, it's they're, I would say, more interested. I don't necessarily need tons of people talking to me, but they treat me more like I'm somebody from the community versus somebody that's flying in, flying out, or I guess sailing in and sailing out. We live right near sort of an Ape station, which is those cute little Italian trucks, but they've got them all rigged up to take people on tours. And for months and months and months, every day, somebody would ask me if I would like a tour of the island I live on. And so I learned many different ways to say, no, thank you. So that's kind of our second reason. And the third reason is... Actually,
in the second one, just for a moment.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I have to shout out the accordion guy.
Oh my gosh, the accordion guy.
So right, you know, like outside of our house, there's usually an accordion guy sitting on the corner playing mostly the theme from The Godfather.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what the tourists want. And you know, when we first got here, and you know, he's out there playing, I mean, we're thinking, hey, that's great ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
But
until,
you know, once you've heard it all day, every day for what are we at? We're at 9-10 months now.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of ready not to have accordion music at all times.
And to be fair, most of them don't play. I think it's the one that we recognize, so we see it. But we did have one day where there was a new guy down there, a younger guy. I think he's just picked up the accordion, and he played the theme song from The Godfather over and over and over again. And you can't see this, but he's like 20 meters from my window, and my desk is 10 meters from, 3 meters, 5 meters, I don't know. I'm still converting my meters. it's within earshot. So I had the lovely doors open. I just listened to the Godfather's theme play on and on and on and on and on for multiple hours. We were gonna go down and put a 20 in his hat to get him to stop playing for the day. We figured like that was fair, totally fair. So yeah, okay. So I'm glad you stopped me for that. And the third reason is that we pay a tourist tax.
Just, I mean, not an actual tax.
Not an actual tax.
But just everything that you buy, you know, here in town is a bit more expensive than it is every place else.
Yeah.
So, you know, restaurants, food, just about everything.
Exactly.
You know, it just, it's a little bit more that you're paying for every little thing. Sicily's inexpensive, but, you know.
Yeah, it's still an inexpensive more, but it's more. And so we definitely will want to find a place where we're not paying that all the time. But Matt, now we've talked everybody out of ever wanting to live in Ortigia.
But I mean, Ortigia is fantastic. So,
it really is.
So I would highly recommend people come and vacation here. And I think it's actually there's lots of people who I think it would be the right place to buy a house or an apartment or that kind of thing. I mean, ultimately, I think, well, certainly if you don't drive or don't want to drive, it's a great walkable place with full market and great public transportation. So
yeah, and into Syracuse, and we can walk to the train station and get to really, I mean,
anywhere.
From the train station anywhere. It's fantastic. I can get all the way to the airport for $6, and it would be $100 taxi ride, and it's easy, it's fantastic, it's walkable. Yeah, so that's really great. If you like to travel around and you don't have a car or you don't want to drive a car here, that's great. Also, what else?
Well, I mean, there's tons of things to do. I mean, ultimately, like the museums that are in town, the places where you can rent a bike, rent a boat, you know, tons of things to do. So, and even if you're choosing to live here, if you want people to come and visit you and have something to do, there's unlimited things to do around here.
I would agree. And I think that if you are going to live here, which we're not thinking that everybody's watching this video is going to live here, but if you were, and having people visit, I mean, that's kind of why we chose. You can see we'll give you the link at the end of the video of why we did choose Ortigia. It is, if you're planning on having lots of people or you want to use this as a home base, that is really great. And I think that it's beautiful. There are pluses of living. Matt and I have struggled with this. There's pluses of living in such a beautiful place where there's lots of good restaurants here. Why? Because all the tourists come. But all the tourists come. So there's lots of good restaurants. It's like a double-edged sword. But also I would say if you're into sort of nightlife, and I don't mean sort of American nightlife, I mean like we eat dinner late, but you want to go out, you want to hear some music, you want to just go for a walk. There's not dead here.
There's live music playing, certainly, gosh, it feels like 3-4 nights a week that you can just, walk up to. I mean, people will be eating outside with a singer at the restaurant or that kind of thing. So, as well as, clubs going on into the wee hours. Yeah. Lots of nightlife options. Yeah. So it's a very lively city, and during sort of spring, summer, fall.
But even in sort of November, December, I mean, we actually haven't been here in November yet, but we have been here sort of December through the rest of the year at this point now. And even in December, January, February, there were still restaurants open. There was still enough to do. I think if I could live in Ortigia in December through February, but have April and October weather the whole time, I would not move. I totally would not move. It is just a beautiful place. We love it, and it'll always have a special place in our heart. It's just not the place that we wanted. I'm going to say our final resting place.
We're not talking about that.
I also don't want it to be, I'm not ready for our final resting place yet. So if you guys have any questions about what we've said today, please put them down in the comments, because we're always looking for what we can
Suggestions,
chit chat
yeah.
about next, and we'll include the link here too, so that you can watch why we picked Ortigia as well. And in a future podcast, we're going to be talking about, so if not Ortigia, how did we pick where we wanted to buy our house? So that's it for today. Another chit chat. Arrivederci.
A presto. Marker. Where's the intro now? Line.